Good morning. It is Friday, August 4th. That means we're getting very, very close to August 15th for all the old fogey school boys who class that as the day where you need to get past it. I think things have changed a little bit, but if you're in Northern Ohio, we finally started to dry out and things have become more favorable for growing turf. Still probably a little bit of cleanup ongoing. Um, this week we just finished field days. We had the Ohio Lawn Care Association and the Ohio Toughgrass Foundation field days, and we had a good total attendance, about 370, 375. Weather was great, a lot of great talks and content that's available for review. And we'll also be following up on that at the Ohio Toughgrass Conference and Show. Online today, we got Dr. Dave Shetlar and Dr. Tyler Carr. Dr. Shetlar, take it away with an insect update.
Well, Ed and Tyler and the rest of you, thanks for coming in here. I kind of liken August as being, if you're ever down in Florida when they have the summer doldrums, you can just expect, well, I'm going to get a little rainfall this afternoon. It's going to be hot and humid, and that's going to be it. And we're kind of in that point. However, I found it very interesting. Some of the lawn care people that visited this week did ask me about chinch bugs, and I go, oh boy, chinch bugs. And it does appear that the first generation of chinch bug damage was probably missed because we had some fairly good growing conditions. But the second generation can, quadruple in size and number and actually damage the turf. And so if you're driving by some turf, we've had plenty of rainfall. So if you're driving by a lawn and it looks like it's drought stricken and it might kind of have this sort of a yellowish color to it, stop your truck, get out, go over on your hands and knees, separate the canopy and see if there are any little black and white and chinch bugs. And of course the nymphs are sort of a reddish orange color. And if there are, you probably need to go back and get your pyrethroid of choice and give them a shot and take them out. Now, it's also, we're in that period of time where the white grub eggs are hatching. The little first instar grubs are up there munching away at the soil thatch interface. You're not going, it's going to be very difficult to find them. Even I, as an entomologist with 35 years of experience, when people say, can you make an application when the grubs are first instars? I have to guess whether they're first instars. They're really small, very difficult to see, but they will be there. It'll take them about 3 weeks to go into the second instar, then another 3 weeks to go into the third instar, those big, fat, sassy land shrimp sized white grubs that can literally eat the turf down and destroy it, what appears to be literally overnight. So I think we are going to see, I don't think we're going to have massive grub outbreaks this year, but we're going to have more grub activity than we had last year because we have ideal weather conditions for that. So again, if you've got customers that didn't take a grub treatment and their lawns are in neighborhoods where you do have some white grub activity, get prepared for some curative or rescue treatments. And it's probably going to be later than normal. It'll probably be in early to mid-October that we'll see damage. But hopefully, I say hopefully, the skunks and raccoons will help show you where some of those grub populations are before the turf turns completely brown. Okay, that's all I've got today, Ed.
Thanks, Dave. One question. I did notice cicada up in our area in Cleveland. Is that kind of time of year for cicada up there?
Well, remember, we have two types of cicadas. We have the periodical cicadas. Those come out in May, early June. And those only come out, every few years and in a couple of places in Ohio. Then every year we have the dog day cicadas. And I grew up in Oklahoma. I love the serenading of dog day cicadas. It's like I said, it's the dog days of summer when I hear those. However, I have already got some complaints. I've had people say, can we control the cicadas? And I said, what the heck do you want to do that for? Oh, they claim they can't sleep. And I go, well, get used to it. They'll be fine. pretty good. Of course, with the dog day cicadas, we have cicada killers that pop up, which can be a real problem on golf courses and their bunker edges. Cicada killers like that sand, and they'll dig their burrows into that. And of course, you get a golfer that's been ticked off in the first place, their balls landed in the bunker, they get in the bunker, and then all of a sudden here's this big cicada killer in front of it going, and they're really harmless. I've actually trained most of the golf course superintendents that have an issue with that to use a badminton racket or a tennis racket. And just go out and whack them. You know, you can hire a kid to give them 50 cents a cicada killer. And after about a day and a half, the kid comes back and says, I can't find any more. Well, you're done for this season. So that's my spiel on the annual dog day cicadas.
Thanks, Dave. All right, Dr. Tyler Carr.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and I can hear outside of my headphones some cicadas right now. So it's definitely the dog days of summer here. So last week, Dave Gardner talked about weed control prior to establishment, and continuing on with the turfgrass establishment series, we're going to go in a little more detail about soil testing today. To back up, Dr. Gardner wrote a post that's on our website now about non-selective weed control. So if you want to see that, it's on our website, buckeyeturf.osu.edu, and the turf team times where he was talking about that is linked there as well. So we're going to talk about soil testing in a little bit more detail today. When you're establishing turf grass from seed, you need to make sure that you have enough adequate nutrition there and your pH is in a good place, so that the turf grass system can be healthy. So I like to view it as in a couple steps. One is soil sample collection. So typically I recommend a 4-inch sampling depth, whether that be with a soil probe, a garden spade, whatever you can get. I like to mark a 4-inch depth on there. That consistency is really important across your sampling area to make sure that the sample is valid. So we want to typically you find your area, take a zigzag pattern of samples across your area. For many soil testing laboratories, they'll require about a cup worth of material. And you can send that off to any soil testing laboratory. Ohio State Extension has a good document on soil testing methods. From a laboratory analysis standpoint, it's, in my opinion, important to understand how the soil test results are taken from that sample. And they use these things called extractants to make sure, or to pull the nutrients out of or to determine the amount of nutrients in that soil solution. A lot of what we recommend in this area is Malic 3 extract. So it's just good to know what extraction method they're using at that soil testing laboratory. If you send a sample out through Ohio State Extension, it's $11 per sample. That doesn't include shipping. If you go to any county extension office, you can get a little packet, a little kit. You can put your soil sample in there, and they will send it off to Penn State. They use Malic 3, a Malic 3 extract, and they'll give you pH and macronutrient levels like phosphorus, potassium, calcium, sulfur, magnesium. And so then they'll also give you a recommendation. And this is based off of sustainable, SLAN is sufficiency level of available nutrients. Sometimes I get all these mixed up. And that's the most common method or soil testing interpretation philosophy that is used at land-grant universities, Penn State being one of them. And so they will give you a fertilizer recommendation based on that. So how much phosphorus and potassium do I need to put out? Nitrogen is not something that we are soil testing for. Those recommendations aren't going to be based on what's in your soil. Nitrogen's highly volatile in the soil. It can be lost in a multitude of different methods. And so those recommendations are going to be based on just typical recommendations for that specific species and that specific soil, that specific location. It may not even be that specific. Tyler Van Landingham, a graduate student in our program, is working on fine tuning those nitrogen recommendations. There's another method that's aside from SLAN that may be common or may be becoming more common. It's minimum level of sustainable nutrition, or MLSN. I'm writing a blog post right now on this and will be available on Monday. So you can check that out and see what MLSN is about in terms of soil testing. One other thing that we get out of soil tests is our pH. Dr. Nangle wrote a great fact sheet on lime in the home lawn. What was that, 2 years ago? 2021, I believe. I will link that as well. And if your pH is under 6.0, we'll recommend, the soil testing report will recommend a lime application. And that fact sheet outlines when to apply that lime, what source to use, and how much to apply. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll continue this establishment series over the next couple of weeks, and we'll have some written documents coming out with it as well.
Well, if you've got that low a pH, maybe you should be growing some blueberries.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against blueberries. I do like me some blueberries.
Silver linings, Dr. Shetlar, of course, silver linings. Okay, thank you, Dr. Carr. A couple of things. So not next Friday, but the following Friday, which will be the 18th of August, we're going to do our Turf Team Times live, and we will have the Zoom link out for people. You'll have the ability to call in, ask questions, put us on the spot, watch us fail with abject ability, because we won't know all the answers. We never do. However, feel free to come in and ask those questions. So that is Friday, August 18th. We will do our Turf Team Times live. So if there's something that's been irritating you for the last 2 months on why this is not going right or why this isn't growing properly, then here's the opportunity to do it. With that, I will leave everybody. Dr. Carr is leaving all our contact details. So you've got the website, buckeyeturf.osu.edu. If you have a question right now, you can email us at buckeyeturf@osu.edu, and then our various Twitter handles, or X, whatever that's now called, and then podcast and Spotify, Turf Team Times. And that thank you, Dr. Carr, for the demonstration. With that, folks, we will leave you, and we will talk to you all again next